So should I just ask the question?
Yeah, definitely. And probably respond. Yeah.
So, what is the basic role of a woman during this time period? So I basically said women were considered servants during this time period because they were never considered higher than men. Othello favored whatever Yaga had to say about Desdemona, and that shows the imbalance in the role between men and women.
I agree with that because, like, Desdemona, when she married Othello, like, I guess when they got married in that time period, she was, like, bound to him. So when Othello thought that she was cheating on him, he didn't want to kill her. Like, he still loved her, but he, like, felt he had to because she was only supposed to be with him, and, like, it was a big sin for her not to be, like, 100%, like, completely entitled to him. And she really, like, she said, like, when she was, like, in the bathtub or whatever, she, like, knew she was going to die. And she, like, almost accepted the fact, and she didn't really fight too much to, like, stop herself from that.
I agree with that, and I think that also women were treated more as, like, objects rather than people because in the relationship with, like, Iago and Emilia, they... like, he basically, like, used her in every possible way. Like, he made her, like, steal the handkerchief and, you know, what happened after that. So, I think that Shakespeare depicted women as objects more, like, even more so than as servants. And also, I think that plays into, like, the race aspect with, like, slavery, like, because, like, they were seen as objects for, like, a really long time.
And also, I think, like, during this time period, like, cheating for, like, women was, like, a way bigger deal than for men. So, like, her punishment was, like, death, whereas, like, if Othello had cheated on her, it probably, like, would just be, like, disregarded, like, not a big deal. Okay, this last question. How does Emilia defy the typical gender behavior?
Okay, she does, like, a lot of things. Like, when she was told to take the handkerchief, she was gonna, like, make a copy of it instead of, like, giving him the real one. And she, like, calls Iago a liar, and, like, she stands up for Desdemona, and she doesn't really take what Iago says. She does her own thing, and she isn't a pushover. She's like different than what a lot of the women in the play are like.
And also, Emilia, compared to Desdemona didn't really like speak out that much against Othello when he accused her of cheating. Like, she told him that she didn't, but she didn't like adamantly speak out. And when Emilia started speaking out at the end about how Iago was being deceitful to everyone, she was like punished with death, just as Desdemona was, but the difference is that Desdemona never really had a voice, and when Emilia tried to, then she was killed also.
I think also that the fact that there's only really two female characters in the play, Emilia and Desdemona, shows that, well, there's also like, there's like 9 male characters, I think. Some are like, whatever, minor roles, but I think that shows that, like, Shakespeare, like, was trying to portray them as, like, more objects because, like, at one point, Desdemona was, like, the object or whatever of 3 guys, Cassio, Othello, and Roderigo. Like, he was whatever, she was, like, something to be won. And so, I think that's, like, another way that Shakespeare was trying to give a new perspective. Okay. Alright, another question is, how could Desdemona have prevented being used in Iaga's plan and eventually prevented being killed by her husband? Anybody?
She could have sort of realized that that she was being tricked into, like, convincing Othello to, like, take Cassio back, and so she could have stopped, like, mentioning him when she realized that, like, Othello was aggravated with her, and, like, even though that's, like, not really, like, fair, I guess, but she could have, like, seen that she was being, like, tricked and sort of changed it.
And like we said about, like, her not having a voice, voice. Like she could have like really like taught, like she could tell like there was something wrong with Othello and like something wasn't right between them, but all she would do is like say like, "What's wrong, my lord?" Like she wouldn't ever like actually like talk to him. She just did what he said, and like we said, like she didn't have a voice. She didn't like express how she was feeling, and she never like Othello never like talked to her about his feelings. So she just like kind of followed whatever he did, and that got her in trouble.
I think even if she did like have a voice and if she did speak to Othello wouldn't really believe her anyway, because Iago had like gotten him to believe him so much, and so like no matter what Desdemona would have said, Yaga would have convinced Othello that she was still cheating. So I think either way, like even if she had a voice, it wouldn't have made much of a difference.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought Desdemona was like pretty stupid about the whole situation. Like she basically like it was obvious like that Othello would be like aggravated like when she would like mention Cassio, and like she would just like keep asking him about it. So like she kind of did like set her own trap in that sense, but I think that also like plays into the fact that like Shakespeare like was kind of like belittling women like throughout the whole play, so he like basically was emphasizing the fact that like she was kind of dumb, and like that like I think that goes back to again the thing like about them being like objects and like women like don't really matter and stuff.
I can ask a question. Why do y'all think Othello believed Iago over like he believed everything Iago said over like Desdemona when like he claims he like really loved her and stuff?
Well, I think it was like strange how he didn't give Desdemona like the benefit of the doubt, like as like being his wife and everything. He just like so quickly resorted to like killing her instead of like making sure, like listening to what she had to say and like letting her tell the truth. He just so quickly resorted to murdering her and stuff.
He also kept on referring to Iago as honest Iago, so it's clear that like Iago had painted a picture of himself for everyone around him that he was like a really honest character and someone that they could all trust, because he'd been building up to this revenge like for a while now since he didn't get the job that he wanted, and I think that because like women were really looked down upon at this time, even if Desdemona had like tried to say something, then Iago's voice would have overpowered her, because women were portrayed as, like Dana was saying, she seemed really stupid, so like even if she did say anything, they would have thought that like it was just stupid Desdemona, like it wouldn't have really been trusted.
Also, I think like at the beginning of the play when Desdemona's father said like if she's deceived her father, then she'll like deceive you too. I think that has a big part in like how Othello like started feeling when Iago started the whole his whole like scheme and everything, because like Desdemona's father is a very powerful man, and I think that like even though he like loved Desdemona, I think that had a big influence in like how he was feeling and like what he was like thinking that Desdemona did and stuff. Do you want to have a question?
I could ask one. Okay, we sort of talked about this, but do you think any other characters take on common traits, like what you would think the opposite gender would do? Like Emilia sort of takes on like what a man would be. Like she's strong-willed, and she like stands up for herself, and she's not like a pushover. Does anyone have like another example?